Moving on to international relations, President Biden speaking to Ukraine President Zelensky by phone yesterday. It was their second conversation in less than a month amid rising tensions between Ukraine and Russia. Following the call, the White House said the president, quote, made clear that the U.S. and its allies and partners will respond decisively if Russia further invades Ukraine. Joining me now is former VA Secretary, former Assistant Defense Secretary, Heritage Foundation visiting fellow, Robert Wilkie. Robert, good to see you this morning.
Good to see you.
What do you make of the call and what Biden is capable of doing if Russia furthers its aggression?
Certainly, David. Well, what he's capable of doing, he's not. He is not giving the Ukrainians everything they need to defend themselves. And it's quite a contrast between this administration and the last administration. Putin was quiet for 4 years because President Trump reversed the Obama-Biden policy of giving the Ukrainians meals ready to eat in tents and providing them with Javelin missiles and other things needed to take out Putin tanks and planes. Biden went back to meals ready to eat and blankets, and now he's begun to slowly catch up, but it's certainly not enough. The other thing that he can do is to make sure that there are NATO forces, not in Ukraine, but all in Poland and Bulgaria, Romania, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, to remind Mr. Putin that there is a Western alliance out there that is capable of thwarting some of his plans, because right now, what the mainstream media is not reporting is that Putin has weaponized migration coming out of the Middle East and is trying to overwhelm the defenses of Poland, Romania, and Bulgaria with Iranians and Iraqis that he's funneling through Belarus. So he's playing a three-dimensional chess game while, in many respects, this administration is playing checkers.
At the very beginning of the Biden presidency, on day one, when he killed the Keystone XL pipeline, but then took additional measures to take a chainsaw to our energy economy and our energy superiority, he, at the same time, emboldened and empowered and enriched the likes of Russia. They rely on energy as its main source of financial wealth, in addition to other nations. But again, I pointed to that, like that has actually given Russia financial and geopolitical leverage on the world stage.
Well, think about this. This is a semblance of weakness. The President of the United States destroys American energy independence. Then he goes as a mendicant with hat in hand to Putin, asking Putin to put more oil on the market. And in addition to that, he opens up the Nord Stream pipeline from Russia into Western Europe. Now, the White House National Security Advisor says, well, it's not operating yet. Well, who believes that the new socialist chancellor of Germany is going to cut off oil and gas when it starts to flow into Western Europe during the middle of a European winter? Biden conceded his strength before Putin even began to act. And that's the great problem. And the worry that I have, David, is that the Western alliance is shaky. I mean, we have a president right now who was censured by the Parliament of the United Kingdom, our closest military and cultural ally. I mean, they never censured George Washington, and he was leading a revolution against them. And the president of France, in addition to that, says that this president is an existential threat to the culture of the French Republic. So we have a lot of problems, and they all come back to the White House.
Yeah, look no further than Biden and company icing out our allies when deciding to withdraw from Afghanistan. Again, he said our allies are with us, but he clearly froze them out in that decision-making. It was my way or I'm not going to even talk to you. Robert Wilkie,
That's
more
right.
time next time, sir. Great to see you, always.
And go Deacons.
Yes, thank you.